Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and I've not been a fan of really any of the live-action Disney remakes of recent years. They've all been creatively bankrupt, in my opinion, in one way or another. Whether or not that's straying from the source material or staying with it, they always find a way to do it in the most lazy and cheap way possible. And they're just really empty and vapid. Even the better ones, like Cinderella, I think is the best of the Disney remakes, but it's still just a shallow one-for-one shot remake of the original that really doesn't bring anything new to the table, isn't creative, and it's just very, very underwhelming. I think a lot of these Disney remakes should not be remade into live action. The ones that they should be remaking into live action are their less popular animated films that had great potential, but something went wrong in the production, such as Atlantis, which is rumored to be coming out, or Treasure Planet, stuff like that, where it didn't become critically acclaimed. It wasn't a juggernaut like Cinderella, like Snow White. Those ones were already perfect and should not be touched because there's nothing to improve upon. But those other films that had so much great potential, they have stuff to be improved upon. So that where I think the Disney remake focus should be centered around. But of course, Disney wants the maximum amount of profit possible, so the nostalgia that they pull out of these Disney remakes is the top priority. Now, the next Disney remake that has recently been announced is actually my favorite as a kid. This was the one that I loved the most. This is the one that I rewatched the most. This is the one where my nostalgia is the highest. And it also happens to be the one where my anger at this announcement is the highest because it is really quite unfathomable how retarded Disney is being with this production. But we have this article here from Variety that is saying the Hercules live-action remake will be experimental and inspired by TikTok, says producer Joe Russo. What the hell are they thinking? Is this going to be a modern live-action remake? Is it going to be a contemporary story? Or is it still going to be set in ancient Greece? How are they going to do TikTok in ancient Greece? How are they going to do TikTok? Like, what does that even look like? Is it going to be cheesy little skinny Gen Zers with way too many piercings, tattoos, dyed hair, doing weird dances while they're emaciated corpses, just try to move as best they can, and they shout their pronouns at the top of their lungs to anyone who will listen? I don't want a Disney Hercules to look like TikTok. This is insane. This is next level. I did not think that these live-action Disney remakes could surprise me, that I could think that there was no creativity left in those studios more than they had already exemplified. This is next level. This is taking it to 11. This is well above and beyond the most insane thing that I could come up with Disney doing. Like in like a little parody sketch, I could not come up with something this stupid. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen come out of one of the dumbest companies in modern Hollywood. It is quite something special, but we have a few of the actual comments here from the Russo brothers, which is really sad because I love a lot of what the Russo brothers have done, from Community, Arrested Development, Captain America. They've really, really given me some great stuff. So it sucks to see this abomination coming from them. They're producing it, however. Guy Ritchie, the guy who did the Aladdin live action remake, which was awful, is going to be directing it looks like. So coming off of the Avengers, it looks like they won't be doing Marvel for another decade, it looks like. But apparently they're going to be doing the live-action Hercules with Guy Ritchie. We have an amazing relationship with them that we built over a decade, talking about Disney and the Russos. I think we have a point of view on how they can stretch the limits of their IP moving forward, rather than playing IP management. Now, in and of itself, that's a great comment. Like, yeah, like you want to expand on it while keeping the core and not just one-for-one remaking. I don't think they should be remaking anything to begin with. I'm not a fan of remakes, really, period. Whereas Disney's live-action remakes have faulted for their sticking too close to the source material, Russo says, yes to a certain extent and no to a certain extent. My bigger problem with it is that they shouldn't exist, whether or not they're accurate or not. Just because remakes are cheap, lazy, and especially this situation, they're as lazy as it possibly could be. And Russo says Hercules will be a little bit more experimental in tone, a little bit more experimental in execution. That's not something you want to hear from Hollywood these days. Yes, from something like A24 with their own original stories, yes, experimental is exciting. But when this with a beloved IP, experimental is a red flag. I think we're excited to see what we all bring in the way that it isn't just a reinterpretation of the animated film. If you wanted to do your own thing, go separate. Go back to the original myths. That's what they said they were going to do with Mulan, and then they ended up not doing that whatsoever. Like they said, oh, Mushu's not going to be in it because we're going to go back to the original myth, and there's no magic in the original myth. And then they have a witch and a giant phoenix. It's like, you still had magic, so you were full of shit. So I don't know, is this going to be full of shit like the Mulan situation was, or not? Guy is perfect because he has a penchant for experimentation. Yep, Guy Ritchie does have a reputation for that, and it just goes into the original ones, the original animated films a little bit, and of course they're talking about representation. Yeah, those movies, I love the original Hercules. It's one of the few Greek mythology movies that I am okay with diverging from the source material. Greek mythology is a very personal thing to me, if you guys haven't noticed from my own writing, and I think accuracy is an important thing when it comes to Greek mythology, but for some reason Hercules is the one where I'm most okay with it diverging so very heavily. There are questions about how you translate it in as a musical. Yeah, please, I don't want a TikTok version of the Hercules soundtrack. That soundtrack is amazing. Audiences today have been trained by TikTok, right? What it is their expectation of what musicals look like and feel like. They can be a lot of fun and help us push the boundaries a little bit on how we execute a modern musical. That is terrifying. Terrifying. TikTok, how are you gonna make a musical TikTok? Like, TikTok is just little 10-second, 30-second little dances of modern music. You can't make a musical out of that. I don't understand what he's even saying. And what I can glean from this nonsense is gonna be horrifying. This is just terrible news coming from a once great creator who's bowing down before Disney for this god-awful live-action remake, which was already founded in baseless creativity to begin with, but now they're going the psycho route. So psycho lack of creativity leads to what will be the abomination that Disney's Hercules remake will be birthed in the coming years. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.